After 34 years, The Simpsons is finally over. It's not a secret that some people have been calling for the show's cancellation for years, and it seems like the writers have finally listened. And so, in last night's episode, Old Faces returned, each and every character got their happily ever after, and the lights were switched off for good.
I'm gonna miss this place.
Or were they? Let's get into The Simpsons Season 36 premiere, Bart's Birthday, and find out what it really means for the future of The Simpsons. The episode opens with a red carpet event for the series finale, and we can see the show's many celebrity guest stars. There are all sorts of people here, like Billie Eilish, Mick Jagger, Gordon Ramsay, Katy Perry, Tony Hawk. There's just too many to mention. You get the idea. Also, side note, but I can't believe that after all these years, Don Mattingly still hasn't got rid of his sideburns.
I thought I told you to trim those sideburns! Go home! You're off the team for good! Fine.
Conan O'Brien then appears on stage to present the series finale of The Simpsons. The last time he voiced himself was way back in season 5.
Sit perfectly still. Only I may dance.
And as we all know, Conan was a writer and producer on the show, responsible for writing some of the greatest episodes ever, like Marge vs. the Monorail. So in my mind, he was the perfect choice to host the series finale, being both a prolific primetime host as well as having that close relationship with the show and its staff. Conan then says something that absolutely cracked me up.
When the very first episode aired in 1989, the viewers agreed on one thing. It wasn't as funny as it used to be.
He goes on to explain that even as far back as season 2, Fox's executives had caved to public pressures to cancel the show.
Here's a never-before-seen clip of the first attempt at a series finale. Bart the Daredevil.
No! Dad? Dad, speak to me.
And I gotta say, the way they nailed the old school animation style here is absolutely perfect. Conan then rolled out more classic clips of when they tried to kill off the show, or more specifically Homer. And I've gotta be honest, here I legit jumped. Maybe it's my old age, but I was not ready, and it totally caught me off guard. So after years of attempting to create the perfect series finale, Conan then explains that they are now able to entrust AI to write it, more specifically Hack GPT. The satire here is spot on because the animation industry is currently in the middle of a battle against studios using AI, and it's a huge issue across the board. Even on YouTube it's getting worse. Christ. So the executives loaded Hack GPT with the endings of every TV show ever, and it actually writes and animates the perfect final episode in record time. So what was it? Well, the AI episode opens with Bart's birthday morning, but of course, Homer forgot to send out his party invites. We then cut back to the theatre where the AI bots have to deal with the meddling of AI network executives.
We have been programmed with every network known in the history of television.
They don't do too much outside of the scene, but it is still pretty funny and something I can actually imagine happening in the future. Take that, Hollywood execs. But anyway, jumping back to the final episode, Bart starts handing out the invites himself. Then, out of complete nowhere, Skinner drops the bombshell that he is closing down the school and skipping town, basically hinting that he's off to star in his own spin-off show.
I look forward to one hijink or more as part of this delightful mid-season replacement.
He then switches off the lights, leaving Bart all alone.
I'm going to miss this place.
Next, we cut to the power plant where it's announced that Mr. Burns is dead and has left all of his money to his employees. But surprise, surprise, he's actually alive. That is until Homer, in true fashion, accidentally knocks Burnsy into toxic waste, leading into a pretty gnarly death scene.
Legally, this prank will is binding. You're all filthy rich!
But at least Smithers gets his happy ending, I guess.
Now we can be together forever.
And once again, the scene ends with, this time, Carl turning off the lights. These light switching scenes are starting to remind me of that Community episode where Abed was trying to set the tone for the series finale.
Study over.
And man, I love that show. Who else is looking forward to the movie? Moving on, Bart heads to Comic Book Guy's shop where Kamiko is about to give birth. And guess who shows up to help deliver the baby? None other than 16-time WWE champion John Cena. It's just such a perfect joke about how celebrity guest stars just randomly show up in Springfield with zero explanation. It's basically the writers poking fun at themselves here. But yes, once again, Bart is left standing alone in a dark room all by himself. Also, I don't know if it was just for this episode or not, but it has been hinted at for a while now that comic book guy and Kamiko were going to start their own family. So it will be interesting to see if she was actually pregnant and if they follow up with the baby. But then again, it might just be another one-off gag just for this episode. Who knows? Bart then tries to get some answers from Milhouse, only to find that he is leaving too.
The guys at Surefine Why Not Records heard my old demo, and they want me to cut a full album.
And my god, this absolutely had me rolling because I just love all these callbacks in this episode. They're so good.
Can I borrow a feeling?
Speaking of which, this episode is packed with hilarious references, such as the real Seymour Skinner moving back with Agnes despite Judge Snyder saying this many seasons ago.
And no one will ever mention it again, under penalty of torture.
And things only get weirder when the other characters get their happily ever after too, like Patty marrying Evelyn, Ned tying the knot with Ruth, and Duffman marrying Miss Hoover, although side note, but sorry to be that actually guy, but Miss Hoover actually did get married to Gil in season 34. So sorry Duffman, but that lady's taken. Oh yeah, and also Selma ends up with the Yes guy. And if you're curious about Selma's messy love life outside of this, then do check out my latest video. It is absolutely crazy. As Bart skates through town, he sees that everyone is closing up shop and leaving town for good.
I'm going to miss this fire.
Huh?
And to top it all off, Homer and Marge have gone through therapy and have actually healed their marital issues. So, no more arguments, and no more Marge and Homer conflict episodes. This is when it becomes a bit too much for Bart and he starts fighting back against the storyline.
Nothing is changing!
What the hell is going on?
To do this, Bart turns to the one person he thinks will never change, Krusty the Clown. But surprise, surprise, even Krusty is shutting down shop and his show. So to stop Krusty's finale episode airing, Bart jumps on camera and shows his rear end, which lands him in jail. Now this move is a Simpsons staple in itself when Bart ever wants to fight against the man. Look, there's a whole 6-minute compilation of him doing it. Therefore, it is pretty easy to see where AI might have got their references from. While in jail, it does look as if Lisa might catch on and help him out, but that's if she didn't get some great news of her own.
I just won a Junior Juilliard Jazz Scholarship and a MacArthur Preteen Genius Grant. Ugh.
So, feeling confused and scared of change, Bart goes home only to find that there's a surprise party waiting for him. And everyone's here, from Hank Scorpio to Unky Herb.
Come on, kid, do it for you, Unky Herb.
And for me, Unky John Cena.
This is when Bart snaps and calls everyone out, including Homer, which sends him back into his old strangling days. And it's right here where Bart wakes up from the dream and is celebrating his 10th birthday.
I'm still 10. When are you going to grow up? Never.
We cut back to the theatre, revealing that the show has triumphed over AI and is sticking around for more laughs.
I guess it's just a season premiere.
But not everyone's thrilled about it, like Tom Hanks.
I rented a tux for this!
And I really wasn't expecting him to show up here because, well, the last time we saw him was in the friggin' Simpsons movie. So, knowing that it has to write 800 more episodes, HackGPT explodes. And the episode wraps up with, you guessed it, Conan turning off the lights.
Huh. I am really not gonna miss this place.
So, what a fantastic way to kick off the season. I absolutely love it when The Simpsons gets meta and experiments with its format. It reminded me a lot of Lisa the Boy Scout in many ways, and you know how much I love that episode. The way it played with fans' expectations was brilliant, especially the jokes about trying to cancel the show earlier on. Those had me in stitches. The satire surrounding the series finales and the setup for the spin-offs was also really great. And while the cameos were brief, the nostalgic callbacks felt perfectly timed and meaningful. They didn't come across as forced or gratuitous. Instead, their appearances made perfect sense for this episode. Some fans have been demanding that The Simpsons end for years now, and honestly, the loudest critics often haven't even watched the show in ages. And if you're someone who has watched the new episode and still thinks it should end, then that's totally fine, and it's your opinion. I get it. Heck, I'm not saying it'll ever be better than the first 10 seasons. But here's the thing, the show has been around this long, and as long as they keep putting out fun and interesting episodes like this one, why end it now? And I'm not going to pretend that every new episode last season was a banger. There were definitely some that I couldn't get behind, but episodes like this one offer something new and fresh, and it makes me realise that The Simpsons do have a lot more to give. Because if they were just cranking out lazy episodes, then sure, I'd be on board with cancelling it. But the writers still put effort in and deliver solid episodes that are heavy on laughs while still having tight and meaningful concepts. Plus, let's not forget that The Simpsons also provides jobs for hundreds and hundreds of people in an industry that is really struggling right now. So why not keep it going? But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, a big welcome to my newest Flying Hellfish patrons, Tweak, Dan Theft Auto, and Becca Young. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And for you guys watching, I'll smell you later.